6 of 7 Days of Live with Pam, and I'm Pam with 44 Marketplace and Creative Finishes by Pam. We are back in my paint booth tonight because we've still got a few little issues here and there, and we are going to do a couple of different things tonight. I'm going to show you guys the piece that we sprayed last night so that you can see what it looks like after the paint dries, because of course it wasn't dry when we were on last night. And I know that a lot of people are still watching Brushed by Brandy on the Dixie Belle page. She's fabulous. I recommend watching her every chance you get. Hey Sandy, hey Tamara. And I'm going to answer a couple can't even talk tonight. I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I had received last night after it was over via private message. So I'm going to go over those right quick. Somebody asked me about tools that I have to paint. If you only could have these certain things, what would you use? First and foremost, my Mr. bottle. As you can tell, mine is well loved. I usually don't wear gloves, so I always have messy hands. Hey Sherry, hey Martha. I can't do without my Mr. bottle. A good brush. I love an angled brush. You can tell this one has been well loved. This is a Chalk Pro 2-inch angle. I love my Dixie Belle brushes. I keep my Dixie Belle brushes. I'm a little more careful and keep those a little cleaner than others, but I have to have my Dixie Belle brushes because they're synthetic. And my Paint Pixie brush, gotta have it, even though it looks pink and sad and everything, I gotta have those. Top coat sponges, I like this one for an average piece, but I also have a smaller top coat sponge. They're very dense and they work great. I like my big sponges for when I'm doing a whitewash or something. And scrubby soap. You can't do without scrubby soap. If you guys don't have scrubby soap to clean yourselves and your brushes up, I recommend it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but this is mine that I have at the warehouse. I used mine up last night cleaning up. It is soap with a sponge made in it, and it sounds like a simple enough concept, but it's amazeballs, let me tell you. I know. We need to be able to split it so you can watch me and Brandy. Well, Brandy is definitely the more popular one. So if you guys want to watch Brandy, more power to you. I recommend it. And a finishing pad. Gotta have those. So those are my things that I like to have when I'm painting, regardless of what I'm painting. So I'm going to step aside and I'm going to show you the black piece that we sprayed last night. Because for a base coat, it's very, very beautiful. Keep in mind, when you go from a light to a dark or a dark to a light, the first coat is never great. It's never beautiful. It never covers up every single ounce of it, or it doesn't for me. Maybe I just suck at it. So it never does really well. But here is our piece. I'm going to drop you down so you guys can see a little bit better. It turned out very, very well. I got a mess in here, but that way you can see it turned out really well. It's nice and black, which is what we were going for, right? So it turned out nice. I will be putting the second coat. I was in my store all day today, so when I'm working the store, there's not much spraying going on. Customers wouldn't like me spraying paint in the store. Tonight is about painting fabric, because this is something I get asked about a lot. You guys have to excuse me. I injured my shoulder, so if I kind of don't use one of my arms, I apologize. It's one of those crazy things. All right, so this fabric, you can see it has a little bit of a pattern, and that's a question that I get asked on a regular basis. Will my pattern show through? This is paint. This isn't going to change what kind of fabric you have. This is just paint. It is going to cover up the color of the fabric, but it will not cover up the pattern to the fabric. So when you paint fabric, the first thing that I always do is I like to make sure that it's nice and moist. My brush has to be moist and my fabric has to be moist. Now, some people say that they add a fabric medium. Dixie Belle does not require a fabric medium. They say that they have to add water to their paint, blah, blah, blah. No. Clean it up good, whatever, and then just start painting. And I'm going to lift you over here. I'm going to show you up close so you can see what it is. We are actually just putting some burlap on here so that you can just see how quickly and messily I can put it on. Because I want you guys to see it's a very quick process. And here in the South, especially if you're doing it in the summer, it's a quick fix that you can do to your pieces because it holds up really well, like on my screened porch and things like that. A lot of times when I'm doing a cushion like this, if I can take it off, I go ahead and take it off and do the painting. But for tonight's process, my shoulder said we're going to leave it on. I'm not going to worry about pulling out the power tools, taking off the thing or whatever. But typically when I paint chairs, if I'm painting the fabric, I take the seat off, spray the chairs, paint the fabric, and boom, we're done. You can also do transfers over the paint. So there's a lot of different things you can do, but you want to keep in mind your fabric and your brush need to be damp. And I got to tell you guys, I received several sweet, kind thank you messages today. Y'all have no idea how much I appreciate people taking the time to leave recommendations and to leave kind thank you messages. I really appreciate those. I got a couple of not so kind messages today, and I got to tell you, I'd rather y'all vent those with me than with somebody else. So keep sending them. I'm happy to take them in, whatever you guys have to say. And if you do have a local retailer, please understand, I am not trying to usurp that local retailer. I want you guys to support your local retailer. We are all small businesses, and we all need your support. So if you need a local retailer, I'm happy to help you. But if you don't, please support your local retailer. Please, please, please. And if there's Dixie Belle retailers on here, y'all shout out and let them know where you are because they need to know that you're around and that you're happy to help. And y'all wouldn't believe, today we got some orders in for the store. I got in scarves that I didn't order, but the scarves that I did order didn't come in. And I ordered 2-inch Chalk Pro brushes, which I have customers waiting on. And guess what? They sent me 1.5-inch brushes. What are you going to do about it? Call them and be ugly? It's just human error. It's life. So, any of you that are waiting on 2-inch brushes, I'm going to substitute a 1.5-inch brush and a top coat sponge so that I can get it in the mail to you. And next time, I'll get you the right thing. But it's one of those things that was out of my control. But I don't want to hold your order up any longer, so I am just substituting and we're getting it on out the door, okay? All right. So I want you to see how quick and easy. I've got a lot of light on this, but you can see it paints right over it. And typically what I do is, well, sorry guys. Typically what I do is I paint my first coat on, and if it's the summer here in the South, you can sit it outside. And that blazing sun, have mercy. It's the bomb diggity as far as drying. You don't have to worry about your foam staying wet. You don't have to worry about your seat, your fabric, anything staying wet. Because out in the hot sun, it just dries it right up. In the winter, it's a little bit different. And I'm sure if you're up north, it's probably a lot different. Molly can chime in on that. I think they're up north. But what I usually do is I leave a fan running on it. I just do all of my chair seats or whatever, prop them up, let a fan run on them overnight so that I can make sure that they're dry through and through. And then the next morning I'll come in and I will sand over this. And when I use, well, my sanding sponge looks sad because I got paint on it last night. But I sand over this seat just to get rid of any straggling little pieces. And then once I sand over it and it feels nice and smooth, then I go back over it again with another coat of paint. Almost everything I paint, I use 2 coats of paint every single time. And once I put my second coat of paint on, I go back over it with the sanding sponge after it's completely dry. And then it's finished. Now, because Dixie Belle does not require a top coat, I do not need to top coat this fabric. But typically, I top coat everything because I live with dogs, okay? I live with 600 pounds of dogs. And so typically I use at least spray wax. Dixie Belle's Easy Peasy Spray Wax does beautifully, I mean beautifully, over fabric. It's amazing how quickly it goes on and how well it protects the fabric. To clean it up, you just wipe it off. Do the transfers hold up if you sit on them? Absolutely. They hold up very well, because what I do is, after I've painted and let it dry, I put my transfer on, and then either I use the spray wax or clear coat or even gator hide over it. It all holds up really well. In fact, I had one at the store that I painted, a fabric cushion, and I had painted the chair, and I had the mate, and they sat side by side in the store for 3 years. And a lady came in and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I have to have this chair." So she bought it after it had been sat on in the store for 3 years, and she loved it. And it wasn't crack one, it was beautiful, just like it had been painted. It was painted in sea glass, and the chair was painted in drop cloth, and I had a little bit of grunge glaze on the chair. And I've done the same thing with the transfers. I just wait and clear coat over the top of it and don't have a minute. Does the spray wax mark closing? Absolutely not. It absorbs right into the paint, and you'll never even know it's there. You can also use regular wax. I just don't really like that as a top coat, especially for fabric. I usually use a clear coat or something. You guys don't forget, we are still giving away paint. Tonight is night 6. I announced my winner from last night's live this afternoon, and she's already reached out to me. So you guys remember to comment, like, and share, and we're going to get some paint given out to somebody else. We've given it away every day. But the fabric, it's amazing how well it holds up to toddlers, because as you know, I have 6 grandchildren, to mastiffs. It holds up really well, and even on a covered porch, it holds up like Scotch-Brite. I mean, it really holds up well. Another thing to remember is when you're doing your piece, if you're doing different colors, it really does help if you remove the cushion. But a lot of times you can't remove the cushion. I've had situations like that. It's an older chair, the seat's permanently attached, or it's more trouble than it's worth to take it off. All you have to do is just tape it off. Tape and drape always works. Can you spray fabric? Absolutely, you can spray fabric. But the thing about me spraying fabric is I don't feel like I get enough of a coat when I spray fabric. I like brushing fabric. What does the texture feel like? After it's top coated and everything, it feels almost like leather. That's what it reminds me of. Questions? Okay, so we're going to talk about fabric a little bit more. If your fabric has a pile to it, like let's say I painted some velour, velvet kind of stuff, if it has a pile to it, it does take a little bit more paint, but painting fabric does take quite a bit more paint anyway. If it does have a pile, make sure that you get it the way you want it before the paint dries, because it's harder to move around once the paint dries, which of course makes sense. If your fabric has a really long pile, I really don't recommend painting those that have a really long pile to them. Something like this that does have a design, you can actually go back in and dry brush or use gilding wax or something on the raised parts of your piece. Because as you can see, this one's kind of precarious. As you can see, this one has like a flower motif, and it would do great if you wanted to do something to highlight the raised parts. A lot of times if I'm doing that, I do it with my finger, but you could do it with a brush, you could do it with an artist brush, you could do it with a stencil brush. There's so many different things you could do. And you can go back over it. It does soak in to a certain extent. And that's what you want. You want to make sure it stays wet. There's a loose thread on this one I should have cut off before I painted, but it doesn't matter. I can cut it off later. But that is one of the options. A lot of people don't think about painting fabric, and it is a fantastic way to give life to something new, especially, you know, your son or daughter's going off to college, they're in their first apartment or whatever. I'm telling you from experience, you don't want to pay much for that kind of stuff. Go grab something at the thrift store. Paint it up. Send it to college with them. If it lives through college, great. Maybe you can redo it again for their first house. But you don't want to put much into it. This is the way to do it, because typically chairs like this, you can do 6 chair seats with 8 ounces of paint without even trying. You have paint left over. But now some of the ones that have fabric on the legs and fabric on the back, it's going to take a lot more. I've had friends who have done whole couches and stuff. Now, to me, I don't know that I would do that, but you have the option of doing that. Another thing, I had a lady reach out to me and say she does not have a copy of our color chart and our how-to booklet. If you don't have one, please private message me your address, and I will happily send you a how-to booklet and a color chart, because that will help you when you're watching anybody's live videos, mine or Brandy's or anybody's, because the color chart gives you the 64 Dixie Belle colors, but it also shows you the other products that Dixie Belle has, and a lot of people don't know what all that they have. So, how-to booklet, color chart, hit me up. I'm happy to send it out to you. Another thing, several of you have reached out to me about the boot camp that I'm planning. It looks like it's going to be 3 days in March, and I'm only going to have 5 people, because I can't do what I want to for each person if I have more than 5 people. It's probably going to be in the $400 range. And your goodie bag is going to be amazeballs, because I want you to have so much product that we can use. We're going to do 2 pieces of furniture a piece over the 3 days, besides all of our examples. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you're interested, you need to hit me up on a private message so you can be on the list when I release the details, because right now I have 6 on the list. And we are going to place a $200 deposit to hold your spot, and then it has to be paid in full by January the 31st. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. Another question that came up is, can I just use a spray bottle from the dollar store? I have a spray bottle from the dollar store that has my cleaner in it. So yes, you can. But as far as painting, I would not use a regular spray bottle. I am going to do a mister bottle every single time. There's a huge difference in this and an actual spray. An online boot camp. Actually, I am working on that. I am working on an online boot camp that would be 2 classes a week for 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks, because to get it all in, because I'm that person that I don't want you to just have part of it, I want you to have all of it. So I am working on an online boot camp that can do a as you go. I will have to get all the videos ready and everything. I do like an interactive kind of situation, but if I do an online thing, it would be probably 2 nights a week for 3 weeks to get it all in, and it may be a little longer than that, because I want you to get all of it. If you're going to take something from me, I want to be able to give you every bit of it. Sea spray, glazing, staining, mud, Dixie dirt, waxing, which kind of top coat do I want to use? Excuse me. And we are also going to do some spraying. I'm going to set up my spray booth in the back of the store, and we're going to spray when you come to boot camp. So, yes, I do have the spray wax on my site, because I want you guys to feel the difference of brushing a piece and spraying a piece. I think that way you can make the decision, because there are a lot of people that poo-poo spraying my base coats and brushing, kind of thing, but I'm just telling you, there is a difference. There's a speed essence. There's the smoother finish essence. There's a lot of reasons to do it, but the online boot camp is going to be intense. I'm not even going to kid you guys. If I can get all of it worked out, the online boot camp is going to be something to see. There's my girl Jill. Jill hung out with me for a little while at the store today. But I do want you guys to get the full. It's fun to do my 20-minute how-to videos and to help you guys with it. But when you're doing something as intense as what I'm planning, I want you guys to be at the end of it, to have all the confidence in the world to do what you want to do. And I'm also going to do an online class for those of you who are trying to start a business, to help you brand yourself, to help you with your social media, because there's a lot to it. And when you have a small business, you're the chief cook and bottle washer, bathroom cleaner, social media expert, painter. That's my favorite, is the painter. So tonight, I don't want to get all off in that because I know not everybody's interested in a boot camp. They're just here to watch this. I do want you guys to realize it's super easy to do. Don't let it be intimidating at all. Hey, Michelle, hang near your phone. When I finish up, I want to give you a call if that's cool. Amanda, we can do online boot camp. That's what we're working toward. So I don't want this to be intimidating to you guys. I have so many people that come in and they're just overwhelmed by the idea of spraying paint through their sprayer, which I totally get. And they're overwhelmed by painting fabric. It's super easy. And keep in mind, people, it's not a lifetime commitment. It's putting paint on a pillow. If you don't like it, you didn't like the fabric if you were going to paint it anyway. So you've lost nothing. Do it. Just do it. Make sure you have a good brush, and you need paint, and you need a mister bottle. That's it. You don't need to be outside. You don't have to be in your garage. You don't need ventilation. If you're as messy as I am, you need a drop cloth or two. You might want to wear an apron. You can tell my apron has been very well loved. It says I paint. It's just what I do. But you definitely want to have something to protect you. If you have good nails, I don't. Have gloves. Just paint. It's super easy. You don't need a ventilator. If you're painting in the same house with your husband, your kids, grandkids, parents, whatever, there's no smell to it. Absolutely no smell to it. You do want to have good lighting because otherwise you may have kind of a mess. Here in my paint booth, it's lit up like a space station. But, you know, I'm old and have bad eyes. So I have to have a lot of light so that I can see how to paint this. You didn't. I mean, if you want to paint it, you didn't like it anyway, so you got nothing to lose, right? That's what I tell people. So this will probably take as much water as I use. It will probably take 30 minutes to dry, something like that. And because I didn't take the cushion off, I don't care if I get a little bit of paint on the chair because I am going to take the cushion off and paint the chair anyway. This is a chair that I have no idea where it came from. I'm a hoarder extraordinaire, so I have no idea where this chair came from. I don't know how I ended up with it. My customers are so sweet to give me things when they're downsizing. My husband and I buy abandoned storage units, so I end up with crap that I have no idea where it came from. And sometimes it's broken and I should throw it away, but I believe that anything can be saved. So if you see how slick this chair is, a lot of you guys would put slick stick on it before you paint, right? Well, guess what? I'm not going to put slick stick on this before I paint it because I don't need to. Dixie Belle is so great that I don't need slick stick on this to paint it. I don't need fabric medium to paint it because, boom, Dixie Belle is that good. I might scuff this a little bit, but if you clean this good with White Lightning, and when I clean, I don't know how you guys clean, but when I clean, I use these little things. I use a scrubby with my Dixie Belle White Lightning, and when I clean, I scrub so that I get it all cleaned off. And it has a deglosser in it. Dixie Belle's White Lightning has a deglosser in it. So if you scrub it good, wipe it down, and I know Dixie Belle says rinse it, you know. Dixie Belle says rinse it. I am not one that follows the rules. If you guys follow me, you know I'm not a rule follower. So I don't rinse mine. I just scrub it down and wipe it off with a towel, and I'm done. I let it dry, and then there's that. So I will paint this cushion. I will probably spray the chair, and I don't know if I'll get it sprayed tomorrow, because I have like 4 pieces of furniture and a Grinch that I'm supposed to finish tomorrow. And my black piece needs another coat of paint. So the chair may not get sprayed tomorrow, but I do promise, if you follow my page, I will put a picture of it up next week, because I've got to do a kitchen island next week and a dining room set. So we will spray this when we do that. And you know what color it'll be? Whatever color I'm spraying the dining room set. Because once the gun is loaded, let's just spray it. So does anybody have questions about fabric? You don't need fabric medium. 2 coats. Keep it damp. A good brush and Dixie Belle Paint. All you need. To paint this chair, I would not use Slick Stick. You can. I'm not saying it's wrong. You can, but I probably wouldn't. Clean it good and paint it, and you won't have any worries. Typically with chairs, I do use gator hide, because people touch chairs with nasty hands, you know? I'm just saying. If you have my grandsons around, they have little dirty hands, and they like to put little dirty hands on nice, light-colored cushions and on chairs. So I'm just saying, gator hide is a good friend to you, because that way my finishes are scrubbable. And you know, I told you, I've even wrapped them in saran wrap the day after I painted. So whatever I'm doing is working so far for me. I'm not saying I'm doing it the right way. I'm just saying that I'm doing it my way. Okay, so if nobody has questions, like I say, if you don't have these, hit me up with a private message so I know that you want them. I will put them in the mail to you free of charge. I do have free shipping on $50 or more worth of paint. And we are giving away free paint for everybody who you're entered to win. If you like, share, and comment on this. And if you have questions, please hit me up. If you want to be on the list for online boot camp or in-person boot camp, I only have 5 spots for in-person boot camp. Please send me a private message, because otherwise I will not know to let you know. I hope to get the plans finalized in the next week, and we will go from there. I already have my classes up for January. I am going to be presenting at the Dixie Belle Convention in February, so I don't have as many classes in February, because I am going to be out of town one weekend, and I'm going to see Air Supply one weekend in January for my birthday that was in October. But if you guys have questions, hit me up. Any 2019 classes that are paid for by tomorrow night at midnight, they're buy one, get one 25% off. So hit me up, and I will finish this chair next week probably. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 8:30, okay?